So I guess what side of the fence are you on here? Are you on the Packers side? Or are you on Aaron Rodgers side? Because I mean, well, go ahead. I'm back to talk a little more sports. Days will be joining me again. Yesterday we talked a team near and dear to his heart in Arkansas. Today we'll be talking another team near and dear to his heart in the Green Bay Packers and all that drama with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to start with an update on my WNBA power rankings. Then we'll go to the Aaron Rodgers stuff and we will close it with the MLB top 10, the new number one team in the MLB this week as the Padres fall hard after a rough week after the Cubbies kicked their asses. But in the WNBA, we'll start at the bottom again. Number 12, still the Indiana Fever, still playing bad basketball. In fact, they're playing worse rather than better. I mean, I don't see them turning around this season. They got a chance to come out of this 12th spot, maybe, but they'll stay at the bottom of the rankings all season. Number 11, the Chicago Sky. Last week when I did this, the Sky had lost 4 straight. Well, this past week they lost 3 more games, so they have lost 7 games straight. They have acquired Lexi Brown. Finally, Lexi Brown has a team, even though she's not technically a part of the team yet because of budget issues on their payroll and whatnot with the rules of the WNBA. But she will be on the team in about a week, a little more. Quigley is back from injury, but unfortunately, still the same result. Another loss. Candace Parker still injured. They've had some bad luck this season so far. They are a better team than their record shows, but they're just not putting together wins. That's why they have dropped 2 more spots down to number 11. Number 10, Washington Mystics. They too drop again. They're down 3 spots. Yeah, it's just not working for them. They are 2-5. Honestly, Natasha Cloud, she is missing a step since she took last season off. She was really the person that would lead the team, get the ball around to the right people. Ariel Powers is now on Minnesota, even though she's injured. But she was always someone that would come off the bench and give a spark to the team. They are missing that spark. Um, for the Mystic, it's basically Tina Charles. She is carrying that team on her back. One of the players of the week, honestly, because she's the leading scorer in the league. Because she's doing her best to keep Mystics in this games, but they're 2-5. Number 9, the LA Sparks. They are down a spot in my ranking despite doing some winning. They're 4-3. There are some teams with worse records I have ahead of them because I am just not impressed with the Sparks. I don't think they're playing good basketball. I mean, Erica Willer is doing her thing. She's kind of having to be the leader of the team right now because both sisters, Shanae and NECA, are both injured. NECA is out 4 to 6 weeks, I believe. That's a huge loss for the Sparks. And their 4 wins, 3 of them are against the Chicago Sky, who can't win a game. They're on a 7 game losing streak. And their other win is against the Indiana Fever, who have only won 1 game all season. So, yeah, they've gotten some wins, but they're not wins against good teams or teams that are not playing well. So that's why I have them at number 9. Number 8, one of my favorites, the Dallas Wings. I have them up 2 spots. Maybe it's biased because I like to watch them, but they've won 1 game this week, but they've only won 2 games against the LA Sparks. They're 2-5, but Dallas is playing much better basketball than their record shows. They continue to hang in games with good teams. They have taken the best team, Seattle, to overtime in 2 different games now. They're just not pulling out the wins in overtime. They are putting up big numbers in scoring, hanging in with good teams. Just like I said last time, they don't know how to pull out wins, unfortunately. It's been a trend for this team for a few seasons now. They are a young team, though, and this could be the season that they break through that door and start to win these close games against good teams because they are playing great basketball. They got the firepower, just got to win games. That is a trend with this team. They get Gray back, they have Satu Sabli back. Um, they were on international duties. I think those two will definitely help the team even more. Number 7, the Lynx. I had them at 4 spots. I had them very low last week, but I knew they were a better team than what they were showing. They had not won a game. They won 2 games this week. Beat the Connecticut Sun, who are a great team. I mean, look, the Lynx have one of the best coaches in the league. They have Nafisha Collier back, playing well. They have a lot of talent. They got good coaching. They're always a contender. I think they'll continue to improve. Number 6, New York Liberty. They dropped 1 spot. They lost their both of their games this past week. They've gotten a little cold. They're not playing as dynamic as they were the first 2 weeks. UNESCO has been pretty cold. I think that can happen when you're getting severely overrated. Look, she's a great player, but this is technically her first year. She played 6 games in the bubble before she got injured. Let's give her some room to work with, some time to improve. She's not playing consistently right now. They need Natasha Howard back. They need somebody to help rebounds. They are not rebounding well. Benajelani is still on a mission, still trying to keep this team in games. Michaela Onyenwere has gotten hot. Cannot pronounce her name still. Sorry, I try. But yeah, they're playing good in Walt Hopkins. I can't say anybody's name. They're playing good in Walt Hopkins' scheme. They need to improve though. They've gotten sloppy. They've gotten cold. And that is why they dropped 1 spot. Atlanta at number 5, they also dropped 1 spot. Unfortunately, they lost their 1 game since my last rankings. But look, they're still exciting to watch. They're a very guard-heavy team, still playing fast. They're another young team. They're another team that's still new to each other, really. They are a team with depth, but I need to see them play better against bigger opponents. Phoenix Mercury, up 2 spots at number 4 for me. They're 5-3. They won their 2 games this past week. Like I said last week, they're without Diana Taurasi, but Diggin Smith is putting in work. She's really playing very well, keeping this team in games. Griner's been dunking. She decided she's back to dunking the ball this past week. She's dunked it twice. Kia Nurse hit that game winner, was a great shot at the end of the game. So things are working for Phoenix. They're grinding out wins. They're a pretty good team. And when Tarazi returns, it could be a great team. Vegas Aces number 3. They dropped 1 spot. They're 7-3. They went 2-1 since my last rankings. I may have overshot them last week. I thought they were getting hot and that they could beat Connecticut. Alas, they lost again to Connecticut, losing to them twice this season. But look, 5 different players for the Aces are averaging double digits this season. Cambasia has had some hot streaks in these games. She likes to try to annoy her opponent. She's definitely a player that plays head games. But like I said, they lost to Connecticut again, and that is why Connecticut goes up a spot to number 2. Jonquil Jones, player of the week. She's just dominating. Yeah, they got some good basketball right now. I think they were not a lot of people thought they were going to play well coming into this season, but I think a lot of people knew Jonquil Jones was going to play well, but they didn't expect her to play as well. She is doing it every aspect of the game right now. They're killing it inside the paint. They dominated their game against New York in the paint. Brianna Jones has been great. She's been consistent. Alyssa Thomas is injured, and she's kind of been the one stepping into that spot to just crush it along with Jonquel Jones. So Connecticut at number 2 at 8-2, and number 1 remains the Seattle Storm, 7-1. Only lost that one game. They beat Dallas in overtime again. Jewel Lloyd with that tremendous less than a second left game winner. She is great. Obviously, Brianna Stewart, one of the best players in the game. I think those two are two of the best players in the game because they are both clutch. That is their best attributes. When you got two clutch players like that, obviously you're going to have a great record. So yes, Seattle Storm remain number 1, and the team to beat in the WNBA. Gonna shoot it over to my talk with Days on the Aaron Rodgers drama. The Green Bay Packers.
Do I need to go grab my cheese head for this?
If you want to.
I'm gonna try to make it through this without crying, honestly.
Oh Lord. I kind of want to go back a bit on this timeline of the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco. Back to the whole Mike McCarthy getting fired, and Aaron Rodgers. Was Aaron Rodgers happy that Mike McCarthy?
Oh, absolutely. Mike McCarthy is a shitty coach. Yes, he won a Super Bowl, whatever. But Aaron Rodgers has so much talent, and McCarthy wasn't utilizing it and not building a team around him. So I'm glad he was gone. Got LaFleur in here. Do I like him? He should have went for it on that 4th down instead of kicking a field goal last year. But I think he still got the reins held a little too tight on Aaron Rodgers, and that's why we're even having this discussion.
But was it McCarthy who was the problem, or was it their GM that's been the problem, not building?
It's offense? Definitely the GM too. But your head coach has a say. I mean, I don't care who you are. The head coach is going to have some type of say in signing free agents, draft picks, whatnot. And the big thing was Green Bay they weren't getting defensive players in there. Now we have a defense. It's surprising. Last year, I was like, holy shit. I mean, you got Zadarius, you got Preston running on the ends and linebacker position. Adrian Amos back there in the secondary. Like, I'm confident that if we can get up, we can stay up and not have any comeback wins. Just something's holding them back. Let the magical wizard work his magic. That's what he's there for.
Now, I mean, Aaron Rodgers wanted a weapon on offense last year in the draft. Instead, they drafted a quarterback, and that's kind of been one part of this whole issue.
It goes back further than that. It goes back to them releasing Jordy Nelson, right? Sure. Which that's debatable. Like, Jordy is so concussion prone at this point. Is he still with the Raiders? I think he's still with the Raiders. I don't even know. But when they let go Jordy, there was no communication with Rodgers at all. That was done behind his back. He had no idea what was happening. And I think that's what started just this bad taste in his mouth. So that was his number 1. But, I mean, thankfully we have a new number 1 receiver, probably one of the top receivers in the league now, with Adams. I mean, he has become a star receiver. Rodgers knows he can go to him, and he's going to make some of the most spectacular catches in any situation, in any type of game that he has to make. But there's got to be more targets for him, especially coming out of the backfield.
So I guess what side of the fence are you on here? Are you on the Packers side? Or are you on Aaron Rodgers' side? Because, I mean, well, go ahead.
It's tough, man, because I've been a Green Bay fan since, seeing my first Super Bowl, which just so happened to be the Green Bay Packers. I think it was against the Patriots. And I was devastated the next year when they lost to the Broncos. And I've been a cheesehead ever since. I was a big Brett Favre fan, and I was sad to see him retire. And then I hated him when he came back and played for the Jets and played for Minnesota. I'm no longer a Favre fan. So I am 100% an Aaron Rodgers fan until he retires and comes back and goes to play for somebody else.
And it's going to be so bad if it's for the Broncos. I will not be able to handle it if it's Aaron Rodgers on the Broncos.
Well, I mean, at least that's the AFC, right? We wouldn't have to play him all that much. Might see him in a Super Bowl. My biggest fear is that somebody like Chicago would get him.
Not now.
Not now. But there was talk of that for a little bit. But Rodgers came out and said straight up, I'm not going to a competitor's team. So thankful for that. But I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I was for sure after this whole, a couple months ago when the discussion first started happening, I was like, there's no way he comes back. He's already, the guy barely speaks, right? So when he does say something, you got to take it pretty seriously. And I was like, oh shit, he is not going to play for the Packers again. And I was like, fuck, there goes our next couple seasons. Now he's not showing up for OTAs. I don't know what to think. I mean, I'm hoping that he plays. If he sits out, I'm going to be kind of irritated. I don't know what to make of it anymore.
Do you think he's telling the truth when he says that if they fire the GM, he would come back?
Yeah.
Should they fire the GM then? Because look, I mean, I've just gone through this here in Colorado with that trash organization, the Colorado Rockies and Nolan Arenado. So, I mean, and then they fire their GM after the fiasco instead of, they prolong the drama instead of just cutting it off at some point.
Let me put it this way. I kind of feel the same way about the GM for the Packers like you do about Jerry Jones for the Cowboys. Should Jerry Jones let go of the ropes?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They'd probably have a better team if he would just step away and yeah. So maybe not necessarily fire the GM, but he's got to give up control. But just get a new start. I mean, you got a new coach. Half of your roster's new. Just start over. Just keep Rodgers, please. One, they're not ready for Love to play. I don't even think Love is going to be that good. And then you have Blake that they signed. And you know what? Brodas can probably get us to the playoffs. I don't want Rodgers to go, man. He'll be sad.
Well, it's looking that way. He seems pretty stoic in his stance right now, anyway.
I mean, and you got to believe it. Like when somebody, like if you've ever been at a job and you have superiors, you're like, I really hate this job except for the people above me. And you're like, if they would just leave, this job would be perfect. And I've known people that said, if administration doesn't change, I'm just going to quit. And you believe them because they do it.
Yep.
So I've got to believe him. I mean, I'm in denial. Like, what are the stages of grief or whatever? I'm still working on that denial phase, but it's probably going to happen. And it sucks because the team has gotten so good. We still need like another running back behind Aaron Jones. But we got some good tight ends back. The wide receiver core is getting there. I mean, Valdez-Scantling. They added Devin Funchess. Funch. I did not know that until I looked at the roster today. Alan Lazard. I mean, the team's good, and the defense is better than it has been in the past decade. I mean,
it is bad timing for sure.
If they let Aaron Rodgers go for it on fourth down against the Bucks last year, they're probably playing Kansas City in the Super Bowl, and they probably win that game. So it's just whoever's making the calls up top, there's got to be a change. I'm not even sure it's LaFleur at this point. I just don't know, man. They keep a lot of things hush hush in that organization. They don't usually have a lot of drama, so this is kind of, it's not out of nowhere, but it's definitely a big drama filled circumstance that we're not hearing a lot about unless Rodgers kind of speaks up just a little bit. So nobody really knows what's going to happen. It's all speculation. You're listening to sports media. It's some people are like, he's staying for sure. Some are like, he's gone. He left 3 months ago. So
I mean, I just gotta say, it seems like from the outside looking in, he's done. Maybe if they fire the GM, maybe that's some saving grace and he miraculously comes back. But I mean, I just don't see how they get him back without that.
I think Mike Greenberg said a couple weeks ago that think of it as you're in a marriage and you've already gotten divorced. Your spouse just doesn't know it yet. And that's kind of the situation. Like, he left the marriage a long time ago. The paperwork just hasn't been filed for divorce. And I mean, that's what my heart says. That's what my brain, whatever. I think he's gone. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's never missed OTAs. He's a leader. He goes to OTAs for a reason, to build that camaraderie and build the team around him. And if he's not at OTAs, he's not doing that. I feel like he's already given up on the team.
He's like partying it up in Hawaii and shit.
Yeah.
And hosting Jeopardy. Well, we will end there. We'll see where Rodgers ends up. I want to thank you for joining me, Days.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we'll talk more World Series next week if you're not sad if Arkansas's not.
Man, today, oh my God! Literally, I didn't respond to your message until I knew that Arkansas won the first game, because I was not going to show my face on here after they lost the first game of the tournament.
Shit.
Maybe we can do that talk again once Omaha starts, if they're in it.
Let's get to that MLB top 10. Interesting week in baseball. A lot of my power rankings changed because I don't know, it's been an up and down week for a lot of teams. I took the Cardinals and the Mets out of my top 10 completely. I had the Mets in there because they were still winning games despite having so many injuries. But look, the NL East, probably the worst division in baseball. They're basically the NFC East right now. Everybody's playing mediocre. That's what it is. It's a mediocre division right now. And so I don't think the Mets should be in the top 10. The Cardinals, I think they just got swept by the Reds. So yeah, I'm not impressed with the Cardinals. I'm saying this as a Cubs fan. I know, I'm sorry. But they're not playing well right now. They're just not. That's just really all there is. Two of the Cardinals have faltered. Bats are hot. Bats are cold, I mean. So the Cardinals out of my top 10. Yankees also still cold, so they're not in my top 10 yet. I'm sure they could fight there at some point during the season, but I don't think the Yankees are playing great offensively whatsoever. And also the Astros, I had them in my top 10 initially. I took them out because I forgot a team. But the Astros are definitely knocking at that door of the top 10 now. Last week I said they were struggling against big teams, but they've proved this past week that they can beat some better teams. So they're proving me wrong, almost in my top 10. But I had to put the Oakland A's over them at number 10 because they are number 1 in the AL West. Bob Melvin is just able to manage teams to win games. They are grinding. This team is a grinding team. They are grinding away wins. But the Astros are on their asses now. So this next 2 months are going to be the months to watch for the A's. If they can keep grinding out consistent wins, even though the Astros are on them, they got a good shot for the playoffs. I put the Toronto Blue Jays at number 9. They're 30-26. This is the team with the second generation stars. We got Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's a superstar now. They also have Bo Bichette, who, Dante Bichette was his father. He played for many teams, including the Colorado Rockies, even though now the Colorado Rockies are a trash organization. But look, the Blue Jays are good. They are also a team grinding away wins. They're fun to watch. They're playing in Buffalo this season because of the whole COVID and Canada problem. Their starting rotation is probably their weak point, but they've had a good week. They've won their last several series against whatever teams they were playing. And frankly, they're better than the Yankees. Toronto is playing at this point right now, playing better than the Yankees. We'll move on to the Red Sox at number 8. They're down 4 spots. I probably have them a little low, but it's been a tough week to call. They're still second in the AL East. They're pretty damn consistent. Their pitching just keeps getting better and better too, which is going to be big if that continues to happen. They're getting all their top players are hitting well. Even Hunter Renfroe is hitting well, so they have a lot of good signs on both sides of the ball. I think they're legit to possibly make the playoffs. I don't know. Look, the AL East is very tough right now because you got Toronto playing well, you got the Rays playing great, you got the Yankees up and down, and then the Red Sox consistent. So it's going to be an interesting division. The AL East and the NL West and the NL Central, like always. The NL Central is always a competitive race, but 3 great divisions to watch. Number 7, the Brewers. They're up 3 spots. They're now tied with the Cubs on top of the NL Central. They're playing great baseball right now. They're getting healthy, like I said last time, and now that they're healthy, they're playing great, winning games. They're like 8-2 in their last 10 games. I just have to see them play better against teams over 500. Number 6, the Dodgers. They're down 3. And they're down 3 spots for me, but I only have them down because of the teams above them are just playing better baseball right now. In my opinion, they got Bellinger back. I don't know what to say about the Dodgers right now. They're consistent. It's just that they're in this NL West that just I think the NL West is just going to keep changing throughout the summer of who's going to be on the top of that. Right now, they're in the 3rd in the NL West, and I do think, as of right now, both the Giants and the Padres are playing slightly better baseball. Well, the Giants for sure. The Padres, who I have at number 5, had them at number 1 last week. I think a lot of people had them at number 1 last week, but they had a rough go this past week, had some more injuries. Their players are fielding this season. They keep running into each other. That's become a problem for the Padres. It's becoming a thing. They got swept by the Cubbies earlier in the week in Chicago. They're starting to rebound against the Mets, but they have the best starting rotation in baseball, so they're still a great team, but they're in that division that's tough as nails right now. Number 4, the Cubs, tied with the Brewers now at the top of the NL Central. I thought they were the hottest team in baseball, because it seemed like they were. They just swept the Padres, who were playing great baseball, but now they've ran into the Giants, who I think might actually be the hottest team in baseball. So they got out-heated by the Giants, because after sweeping the Padres, they have now lost 3 straight to the Giants. I have them up 3 spots, but it's going to be interesting to see how they rebound from this frustrating series with the Giants. But there's always someone coming up playing great for them. That's been a thing for them this season, because they've had injuries, so has every team. That's why these excuses for the Cardinals are like, oh, they have a lot of injuries. Every team has a lot of injuries. But Patrick Wisdom's been the guy to come up these last couple of weeks, getting hot, playing great. But we'll see how they rebound. Number 3, Chicago White Sox, have them up 3. They're 35-23. Their rotation, Another rotation dominating right now, up there with the Padres. They're 21-9 at home. They currently have the best run differential in the AL. I still think their division is soft. The AL Central is pretty soft this season. They haven't had the biggest competition, but I think they are obviously playoff bound. We'll see how that continues. Number 2, up 3 spots, the San Francisco Giants, arguably the hottest team in baseball. Everybody's been underrating them, including myself at times. Nobody saw them coming, but they keep on trucking. They're now on top of the NL West. That's such a tough division. They could sweep the Cubs if they beat them again on Sunday. So as of right now, everybody's getting it done on San Francisco. They're a good team. They haven't been super consistent, but look at the division they're in. I'm not going to continue to discount them for some of their odd streaks this season. They're tied for the most wins in baseball with the number 1 team, the Tampa Bay Rays, going up 1 spot. I just think the Rays have been the most consistent team in baseball these first 2 months or so. Going into June, they have the consistency. Players are getting it done. They were 22-6 in May. They split with the Yankees, but look, they got players, they got the right pieces. They got people like Austin Meadows who are rebounding from a rough season. He's playing great. Tampa Bay Rays and San Francisco Giants right now with the most wins in baseball. But I think the Rays have the slight nod because they do have the consistency that the Giants haven't quite shown. But Giants are playing great baseball. Gonna end it there. Thank you for joining me.